Hey guys, welcome to Production Music Live. My name is Johannes Menzel, and in today's video I want to show you the latest template I've made for Production Music Live. It's some kind of melodic techno, very melodic techno, almost trance-like kind of techno, the kind of music I make. And in the video I want to show you around it just a tiny bit through the template, because in the end you can explore it by yourself, and want to show you some details from the low end. And yeah, that's basically it. So let's have a short listen through the template. I will skip a little bit here and there just to hurry up a tiny bit. Let's go. So this is the track, and some more informations maybe I've skipped at the beginning. We have the mastered version here of the original, as written is here, master Ableton. And then I also put in a mastered version with VSTs. So usually I do mastering with the basic stuff like isotope and some UAD stuff, and also I have Pultec, EQ, and an analog compressor here, and a tape saturation, so which I use usually for mastering. So I made a version of the track which is mastered with third-party plugins and outboard gear, and I made a version of the track which is mastered, with the Ableton stock plugins, the Ableton stock and I have both channels in here. One is switched off, so this is the Ableton standard change, which sounds pretty good, but I did a new approach, or a different approach, on the one with my third-party plugins, and it sounds just, the mid-range sounds a bit better. We can just compare. So the upper one, Master 1, is the Ableton version, and the Master 2 is the third-party version. So the Ableton version sounds like this. And the other one sounds like this. Yeah, and so it has a little bit more mid-range, and it's also louder, because in my opinion you can just push a little bit more into the isotope limiter than into the limiter from Ableton. So yeah, this is basically the main reason. So, but let's start with the low end. The kick is a group. Usually I use groups for my music. I have a group for like snares, percussions, synthesizers, and also for the kick drum. And the overall kick is made of 5 tracks. In the beginning there are 4 tracks, and later on there's the 5th one, which I will show when we are here. So the kick is from the Premium Volume 5 and sounds like this. So almost the trance kick. Doesn't really sound like techno. I think the track doesn't even sound like techno at all, honestly, but I don't care. It's the kind of the music I make, and this is what matters. And the kick is just, I just cut the sample a tiny bit here, because I think I don't know, let me check. Yeah, because there is a click in the end, which I don't like. Shouldn't be like this, but can happen. Because when you use samples, because I made a sample pack already, and this is why I can tell you, they sound different in different tempos of the project. So when the guys from Production Music Live make a sample or a loop on 100, I don't know, 28 BPM, and you use it on 163 or whatever kind of BPM, it can happen that you have these artifacts coming from warping and stuff. So it is not, sometimes this can happen to samples, and you really need to care about, just listen, check. I don't want the click, check, cut it out, that's it. So, and kick drum, it's just the basic EQ, tiny bit of cutting the really deep low end, and a tiny bit of saturation to make it louder, and emphasize the harmonics a tiny bit. That's basically it. Then we have the kick rumble, which is made from the same kick drum, and usually I use a Ableton reverb for this, and overdrive on a very deep frequencies, like 50 Hertz. It's the deepest you can go on the Ableton standard overdrive. And then I cut out a very narrow band of the rumble, which kind of fits to the original kick drum. And the trick here is the length of and especially the width of this band in the EQ, and also the size of the reverbs. Reverb is almost standard. Even the pre-delay, sometimes I put it down to 0, sometimes I forget, and honestly it doesn't really matter. And The thing is, when you change the size, you can change the tone and also the texture of the rumble. I will show you. And as you can hear, it really changes the key of the rumble. So you need to keep in mind when you do this that you try to put it to match the key more or less of the kick drum. I mean, honestly, in the low end, it does not matter so much, but just turn it until you have the feeling it sounds right. We can do this together. Maybe we will find something better, but this is what I've done here. Yeah, so pretty simple, just one knob, but you can change a lot with this. So yeah, just try it out. And the next one is, yeah, the double kick, or so-called ghost kick, whatever you want to call it. It sounds like this. And yeah, the trick here, I think I mentioned this in my masterclass and maybe also in some other videos. Yeah, the starting point, the length of the sample, and also the EQ. So you really want to, yeah, match the pattern to the rest of the low end. So you can achieve this by different approaches. The first is, yeah, just move the starting point and change the length and also change the fade in and fade out. So this changes a lot how the sample fits into the overall low end groove. And the second thing you can do is you can move the notes and change the velocity of the notes, which also changes a tiny bit how it grooves and how it feels. It can feel slower, it can feel faster without changing the speed of the track. So let's put them all together. Can you feel how this feels slower when it is more to the right side? So when the samples are playing later than compared to when they are playing earlier? So I'm exaggerating a tiny bit here, but I think the idea is clear. I think we started somewhere here. And this is a nice way to, yeah, just change the groove and the overall like feeling of the dynamic feeling you really want to move forward of the low end. And then there is a fourth channel, which is the so-called, I don't know, top reverb kick. Made of a different kick. Yeah, made of a different kick. And just let's very quick check how this sounds. Okay, not really a kick, but I just used a transient for this kind of stuff. So this is a trick I've learned from Umek. I think when you listen to Umek's tracks, you can hear that on the top of the kick drum, there is always this kind of room. And this is just made by a transient of a kick drum, or it can even be a hi-hat or something else, which is very clicky. And then a very short reverb and EQ'd like just to the top end. So it sounds like this. And when you put it to the kick, just listen. We will just listen to the kick and then together with the clicky top end. It just adds some room, and it makes also that you can hear it better on smaller speakers. I mean, okay, honestly, the kick is very clicky, has a nice transient, so it's not really necessary, but it's just something I'm doing a lot in my tracks. So yeah, I just wanted to put it into the template so you can see, you can play around and get a feeling how this is done. And the 5th track is a loop from, I think it's also DP Volume 5, yes, because on D Premium Volume 5, it's honestly the best, probably the best sample pack the guys from PML made right now. No, maybe they can get better, even better. And there are nice percussion loops. And this is from the bass loops. It's number 6, this one. Yeah, and I just put it in and had the feeling that it sounds nice in the context of the overall low end. So what I've done here, okay, sidechain compression, because yeah, you really want to have space when the kick hits. Honestly, the sample is made like there is not a single sound playing when the kick is playing. As you can see, maybe here we have a tiny bit of overlapping stuff, but mostly, yeah, it fits very well. So for example here, yeah, there's the main kick drum, goes more or less until here, and here there is where this kind of rhythm bass sample starts. So let's put them all together, or just, no, let's just listen to this one first. Ah yeah, and the thing which is also important, I put the bass here to mono because the sample has a bit of reverb on it and a bit of room information, which sounds nice, but on the deeper frequencies I just don't want this. And I pitched it 5 semitones because the original sounds like this. Yeah, because this just fits to the track, and I think it also fits to the scale. It should fit to the scale of the track. And yeah, that's basically the low end. Also, something interesting is that, yeah, sometimes I do, like in this trick, this is a trick I do in this track, whatever. The thing is that I changed the low end here, like at the first small drop, which is usually around 2 minutes. So it goes like this. Yeah, and in the overall track it sounds like this. So you can hear it, you can feel it, something is changing just to make the track more interesting. Yeah, and then we have some plugins on the group itself, or some effects. Bitwarmer, which is a replacement for the stuff I usually use. Usually when you know my YouTube videos, I use UE tape saturation and satin, and I use some kind of compression from UE or external stuff, or some UAD tracks, whatever, crazy. Okay, let's focus. And yeah, then we have the drum bass to compress it a tiny bit, to make it a bit more harsh. We have saturation again with a bit of color to, I don't know, let me check. Yeah, you can hear a lot of harmonics now, a lot of distortion, upper harmonics. So without the, it's just 20% in. So without the saturation, it sounds a little bit more like, how to say, muffle, or to, yeah, just less higher frequency informations. And yeah, this is basically what this thing is doing. And then we have the EQ. Again, tiny bit of rolling off and rolling off here, not really doing something, but the number 3 here, which is EQing 6 dB out of, yeah, what is this, 190 Hertz. It's just cutting out the frequency I personally don't like. Yeah, this is coming mostly from distortion and saturation, which adds a lot of like you have the first bass, initial bass. When you check here it visually, you can see there's the first yeah, call it mountain of the frequencies, and then when you add distortion and overdrive and stuff, it just adds another one, and I usually put this one down again because I don't like it, so it is like this. Yeah, honestly, we have turned our studio. Maybe you know from the old videos, it was like 90 degree into this direction. So which was the front and the back wall are now the side walls. And honestly, the overall bass frequencies sound much better now. Daniel, who's my friend, has found out that it has a much better sound here in the studio when we turn it. And yeah, he just did it and it's great. And yeah, I made the track in the, let's call it, old studio. So today I maybe would not cut it out 6 dB because it does not sound too bad. It sounds maybe a little bit too much cut out, but in the end, in the overall mix, this is what always matters. It sounds good. It doesn't matter. There are no rules like you cannot cut 6 dB, blah, blah. Just make it sound good. And yeah, that's it. So we will leave it like this because in the template, it is also like this. And then, which is also nice to know, all of the channels which have a diva are frozen. So you should be able to play the template without even having diva. But when you have diva, you can just unfreeze the tracks and you can play around, can copy the MIDI notes, or can change the automation curves, and so on and so on and so on. So that's it. So I hope you've learned something. Let me know in the comments how you like the template. If you have any questions, just write it down in the comments. I think I will reply to all your questions. So thank you. Bye bye.